accounting is currently Mr. Nairom. He's promoted to be the program leader. So Miss Chan, she's our deputy head. In fact, she joined us last week when I experienced the blackout, the power failure. Okay. Not sure whether you'll notice her joining our Google Meet or not. Let me see. Is she in today? Okay, tiada. Terkejut. How about your other courses? Any of the perhaps Miss Shuka, Miss Chan, or Miss Teng in your class? OOAD lah. OOAD is Miss Shikin. Miss Chana inside OOAD. Good. Why me together with the new lecturer? Okay. Am I going to be fired? It's too scary. Is it posted yet? Let me see. Oh, sudah. Go ahead and click on it. Our morning exercise, yeah? Okay. I'll start the recording. Okay, so I'll click start. Enjoy. All right, almost there. One more question, I believe. 15 of the 16 done. All right. Second time round. Oh no, what happened to the class accuracy? 59% only. Okay, let me share the practice link. Oh, this is the lowest, right? Uh, let's see, where's our classroom? I'll add in the practice link here, yeah? Hang on. Practice link. Okay, save. Okay, so let's see. A toughest question. A simple way of or incorrectly by 12 out of 16 players. To connect to database, we don't use data bound controls, right? What do we use? Anyone remember? Yes, the data source control. Remember for your practical last week, we drag our from the data toolbox. There's a data source control and also our data bound control. The data bound that you use first is the grid view, and then after that you add on the details view. So for each of the data bound controls, you need the data source control to connect to the our database. Okay, so the answer is false, not using data bound. In fact, here I italicize the connecting to database to connect, yeah, data source control. Okay, advantages are the advantages 26 or average 26 seconds. Why? Oh yeah, because this is a checkbox. Easier to maintain data? Yes. We can update on live website? Yes. Tunggu. That database round trip is not. That is a disadvantage because if your page is a dynamic page and it requested for data, then you need to like ask for the data from your database, okay, and then yeah, disadvantage. And then go back to the page. So it means there's a database round trip. You need to, that's the extra time needed to get the data. Okay, let me see. Overview, who got this correct? Yes. Easily backup and reuse. Yes, that's also correct. Yeah, with the yeah, because I put it as unlimited try, right? Okay, any more interesting facts? One question, less than 40%. Yeah, definitely question number 5. Okay, question number 2. This is true. Okay, but then besides relational database system, we can also use it for non-relational as well. But then normally it's we use ADO.NET for relational database. Okay, yeah, definitely it's for Microsoft SQL Server. What are the options that we have? Um, Oracle, definitely no. CE, Compact Edition, no. Access, no. The one that we are using is Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, what else? Question number 4. Data. Okay. How many got this wrong? Noel, Ivan, Russell. Russell, why did you get this wrong, Russell? What's the question? Hang on. Question number 4. Data objects needed by a page to add a new customer details. So we have learned this connection, command, parameter, data reader. I believe we do not need data reader. Okay, I think I open it just now. Okay, we had this question last week, right? Let's see. Because we use data reader to process large lists of results. For this particular question is to just to add one customer record, so we do not need data reader. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, I'll exit from here. I'll start the lecture in 4 minutes time. Now it's 9:16. So next recording will be at 9:20 a.m. So I'll see you there. All right, so I'm back. Okay, so last week we stopped here, right? Okay, let me go from here first. Okay, and I'll start the recording, yeah? Okay, so we have several questions here. I'll get you to answer this. Okay, you can refer to your previous notes. So the first question is, what are the general procedures to retrieve database records? We covered out of the CRUD operation, we look at R, which is retrieve. So what are the general procedures to retrieve database records? How about Celine? Celine, do you know the answer? The 4 steps? Okay, you can put your answer in the chat box. The 4, in fact, it's the 4 steps, okay, to retrieve the database records. And then the second question, okay, what are the differences between execute reader and execute scalar methods? For this question, is Wong there? Wong? What's the answer? Or your mic is not working, kan? You can put your answer in the chat box. All right. Let's see. The third question. Okay. Which execute statement to use? Meaning, should it be execute reader or execute scalar? Right. So for this question, let me get Farah to answer the first one. Which execute statement to use to retrieve price when the product code is entered. So Farah, you give your answer for this one. And then Shak. Okay, Shak, you answer the second one. Which execute statement to retrieve the shops nearby based on user's current location. And who else? Ivan. Okay, Ivan, which execute statement to retrieve the top 10 movies in this week. So it's either execute reader and execute scalar methods. Okay, let me see the chat box. Oh, my chat box is still empty. Are you all there? Execute scalar for to retrieve the price when the product code is entered. Okay, yes, it's correct. Very good. Any more answer? Okay, so waiting for the rest. Just now I asked Celine. Celine ada bahkan? Oh, ada. And then I asked Wong. Okay, I'm not sure whether Wong is listening or not. Wong, what is the differences between execute reader and execute scalar methods? And then 2 more, I asked Shak. Shak and Ivan. Is Ivan here? Oh, ada. Ivan ada. Oh, Shak pun ada. Celine, so what's the 4 steps to retrieve database? Can we retrieve database without having a connection? I'm giving you a clue already. It's from that particular slide. Oh, Shak, you have given me an answer. Execute reader. Yes, correct, Shak. Execute reader. Oh, Celine gave me the answer already. Yes, correct. We need to create and open the database connection. And to retrieve database record, we need the SQL select statement. So the statement, select statement, SQL statement must be together with the SQL command. Okay, we need the object. Once we have created the SQL command object, we will use the command object to execute. Okay, so it's either execute reader or let me see, execute scalar, right? And then finally display the results of the query. Correct, good, Celine. The last step that you all should know is to close our connection. Okay. Wong, are you there, Wong? Is he in? If he's not in, perhaps, how? Do you know what's the differences between execute reader and execute scalar? How? And then, yeah, Ivan, you're not sure. Okay, in that case, how about Nathan? Nathan, do you know the differences? Execute reader and execute scalar? Just now, oh, okay, Ivan already gave his answer. To retrieve top 10 movies, execute reader. Yes, correct. If you notice, yeah, retrieve the shops. It can be more than one shops, right? In our current location, not necessary it will give us exactly one shop's name. And then the third one, we retrieve, this one for exact, we know there will be 10 movies. So in this case, okay, if you are retrieving one or more records, you should use execute reader. Okay, and then just now Farah, he answered to retrieve the price when the product code is entered. So meaning you enter the product code 123. So you are referring to only one product, correct? Okay, the price for that product code. So in this case, we use execute scalar when we want to return only one data. Okay, so you can take this down. Execute reader to return one or more records, and execute scalar to return only one data. So is that clear? Yes, correct. Thank you for putting that in the chat box now. Okay, good. So let's continue. Next, last week we learned about how to retrieve the records, right? But then how about if we do not want to retrieve, say, the whole record? Okay, we want to retrieve it based on the user's input. Say the user would like to search for, okay, like this one, right? When the product code is entered. So we want to retrieve only for this particular product code. So how can we do that? So in this case, there are two ways. First of all, we use the string concatenation method. And the second one, we can use the parameterized query. I believe those who have learned web systems technology already learned this. Okay, I remember for GUI web app in Java, you'll learn this parameterized query. Syntax is different. Okay, syntax is different. And for like SQL, we do have this string concatenation. So let's take a look at the syntax. When we create our SQL select statement, we will concatenate it with the value. So the value, to concatenate with the value, we must use the plus symbol. Plus is for concatenation, right? So if we want to get the value from any of our web server control, then we can use the text property. For example, the text box. Okay, in this case, we have a select last name from author, where first name is equal to txt first name dot text. Be very careful when you do this select statement, especially for the quotes, right? So we assuming that we want to look for the last name for the first name that the user enter here. Okay, so let me show you. Meaning, starting from here, let's see. We are assuming that whatever that the user type in the txt first name will be replaced here lah. Say type the user type Melissa in the text box, so it will become like this. Select last name from author where first name equals to Melissa. Okay, single quote, single quote. Open double quote, close double quote, semicolon. I think by doing this, it's very clear already, correct? Okay, let me undo this. Okay. So that is the first method. The second method is to use the parameterized query method, whereby we pass parameter. When we pass parameter, we use the add param. Okay, the add param, and then the param depends on what we need. Okay, so the parameter, if you still remember, we have several objects. Okay, we have the connection object, command object, okay, and we also have the SQL parameter object. So we can use it, all right, to use this method. Okay, so the syntax is given here. This syntax is we add it in after we create our command object. Okay, let's start from the when we create the SQL select statement. All right. Select all from student where first name equals to add first name. So assuming that this is our SQL statement, all right, stored in string select. And when we create the command object, all right, we pass in our select query, plus we also assuming that we have created the connection object earlier on. Okay, and then use the command object here, and then we have the parameters dot add with value. So parameters, a property, and then we have the method add with value, right? So in this case, we are assuming that the add first name will be replaced by this string, which is Alex. Okay, now you might be thinking, do we need to specify the data type for this? No need. I believe for GUI web app, all right, when you learn the parameterized query for Java, you need to specify whether which data type you're using. If I'm not mistaken, perhaps Jonathan and Russell, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But then for this one, we do not need to specify the data type because it is automatically checked for us, inferred based on the value that we assign to our parameter. So in this case, if the value is in double quote, definitely we know that this is a string. So in this case, it will be the data type varchar. right? So what is the advantages of using a parameterized query if we compare with string concatenation? Okay, I'm not sure about WebSys technology for DFT. Okay, Russell and Jonathan, did you all learn about SQL injection before in GUI? Oh no, WebSys Tech. I think WebSys Tech under Dr. Chris. Did you all learn about SQL injection? And how about Noel's batch? Have you all learned anything about SQL injection in Mustang database class?
Is that like hack?
Yeah, that is where if you're very creative with your SQL statement, right, you can delete or drop the whole table and so on. Okay, uh, let me see. We have the advantages listed in this slide. Okay, when we use parameterized query, it's much more easy and simple. The query will be more readable. And then just now, I mentioned about SQL injection attacks, right? We can prevent SQL injection attacks. Got some notice that here, um, perhaps instead of Melissa, the user, okay, the hacker might type something that will concatenate a valid SQL statement that will do something nasty to your database. So we do not want to do that. Okay, so that's why here it says that the issues due to the string concatenation method is the SQL injection. All right. This happen when the user, uh, when they input the say just not the name, right? They definitely they don't want to input their name. They want to test it out. Okay, they can just type in those valid uh, how to say it's not a complete SQL command, but if the user type the partial SQL command, all right, and then click a lookup button, as just now, is it lookup? Yeah, lookup button, and it is concatenated to this select statement. Oh, luckily this is only select statement. What if this is not a select statement? Perhaps it's like edit or delete. Then yeah, that's it. Okay. Another problem is not strongly typed, therefore unexpectedly executed. For parameterized query, okay, we have this. Okay, if we use parameterized query, the data type of the parameter is automatically inferred for us. So there's no problem on this one where the user input is not strongly typed. Okay, and which will cause it to be executed unexpectedly. So to prevent SQL injection attacks, as a database administrator or IT people with database background, this one I believe you know already that we need to limit the permissions for the database user. All right. And then I remember talking about this in my web system class. We should avoid displaying the actual database errors. This one will be useful when you are still in the development mode. But once you go live, you should like remove all these uh, error messages. Okay, because from the error messages, then someone out there, okay, hackers or not hacker, or perhaps they have knowledge in this thing, they will know that, oh, this is how it works. Okay, which previously I ever saw public bank website, yeah. Okay, public bank website. I tried to log in, and then there was this one day when I clicked login, and then I saw this one particular line of code. Ah, okay, I think I know it. Oh, they use this for public bank online banking system. Then okay, it seems that online banking system looks like very critical, so they're using this very top class technology. But when I look at it, oh, I know this statement. Okay, so from there, perhaps the programmer, they forgot to turn off or remove the error messages. Okay, because when we are in the development stage, we need to see the database errors, right? Okay, so that day I wasn't able to log in because I think they are still doing some kind of emergency maintenance. Okay, so avoid disclosing technical errors. Now, since we already know that if we use parameterized query, um, where was it already? Uh, the data type will be automatically inferred for us. Okay, so in terms of to validate user input, there should be no problem lah. Okay, so validation of user input is a must for your second part of your assignment. Okay, the first part of your assignment, when is it due? Is it in week 8? Week 8 ka? I think it's in week 8. Now it's week 5. So you need to show me your prototype. So I believe you need to finalize your grouping already lah. Okay. But then in terms of validation, you need to include that in your second part, okay, of your assignment. Like as simple as checking good data, like the data type, correct data type, okay, the length, the format, the range, right? And then look at this one. We use parameterized query to solve this SQL injection attack, right? So to summarize, okay, when we use parameterized query, this is the best defense against SQL injection, right? Since it gives us an auto data type checking, if there's anything wrong, then it will trigger an exception. And then another nice thing about it is that for parameterized query, we use the add param, correct? The add param keyword. The input will be treated as literal value. Literal value means SQL server will not treat it as executable code. If that particular user input can be treated as executable code, then anyone can um, uh, send in their codes, okay, the executable code, and then that will really mess up with the database. Okay, so what we have covered for database programming part 1 is the basic of database task. Okay, from the CRUD operation, we covered the retrieval of the records. Okay, some info about our ADO.NET, okay, advantages, disadvantages, and then the two methods for retrieving information based on users' input. So we're supposed to finish this last week, but then okay, so I'll continue with the part 2 after I give you a 10 minutes break. So in part 2, we will continue with cut. Okay, create, update, delete from the database. And then the advanced data handling will be in part 3. Okay, so I'll see you in 10 minutes time. I'm currently viewing examples of art gallery. This one worth 4,500. Wow, 49 times 27 cm. 27 is our long ruler. Oh, not that big. Interesting. Lady with headscarf, 3,500. Wow. But this is, we select the artist, okay, and then we can view. But then for your assignment, okay, for your assignment, uh, you should allow the artist log in to post their arts. Means in this case, you need to store images, okay, into your database, then view as a gallery, and then handle the number of stocks for sale. Oh, so there should be some code behind, and then the customer, only when they log in, they can view the art galleries and order the artwork. So that one should be something like this lah. Need to log in and then can order, like okay, add to inquiry. This is add to wish list. Tapi add to compare. Only add to inquiry. So meaning for this one, perhaps they allow the customer to ask first because look at the price. For your assignment, I think it is very straightforward. As long as the customer log in, view the art galleries, and order the artworks. The one that I'm viewing now is the Penang Art Gallery. Okay, so they allow the user to view the artist. Okay, this is sorted by their name. Okay, I think the rest there's no need lah. Your assignment will be just for only for the artwork sales and display gallery. Yeah, the rest of it no need. Okay, the extra things no need. But if you're using what do you call that, a template, I believe like the about us, okay, the social media, all those are already there. You can customize it lah. All right, contact us. Those are if it's added into the template, you can use it. This is the. Let me see. Customers can add their favorite arts into a wish list and view their purchase history. So you need to create your own database. Okay, to create your own database, let me see. Create database. Hang on. Let me find. I think I found something. Where is it? Or is it in my practical? I forgot already where I saved it. How to create a database. I found it online. Okay. Because for our practical last week, we already have the MDF database, right? And then we just need to add data, and then after that, we can already view the tables and so on. Yeah, where did I save it? But last week I remembered I googled for how to create a database in Microsoft Visual Studio. Okay, you need to do that research since it's not included in our notes. Okay, this one. So you must make sure that your database is normalized. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to have a complete prototype. So this is just a prototype lah. To promote artwork, okay, and then offers opportunity to purchase. User maintenance, this is where they register and use their account. Okay, so basically, what you need is this one. In fact, today we'll finish off our database chapter. Okay, so I believe this week you can start already. Okay, your program must perform. Itulah you need to regroup. The other day I asked the group to uh, choose among themselves. Okay, so again, I give you the opportunity to form your own groups. Three. Kalau three, no, we have berapa? Tunggu. Is it 15 kan? No, minus 3. 12. Ngam 12 bahkan? The, oh, 4 in a group kan? Kalau 3 times 3, it's 9. So one group three. Oh yeah. Tunggu. Let me check. Where's my 16 students. Oh, minus Miss Chan. So 15. 15 minus 3, Noel's group, 12. Ngamla 12. So yalah. So for 5 groups, then I have 5 groups. So for the group 2, I need 4 new groups. Need to reshuffle 4 groups from group 2 and 1 group from group 1. You all know what is group 1, group 2? Group 1 is our Noel, Kelvin, and Farah. They joined from year 1. Oh, ada sudah? Tengok. Group 1, Ivan, Celine, Russell, and ini yang current punya kan? So group 1, group 2 need to reshuffle. Reshuffle. Okay, so I'll let you all think about it. And then afterwards, let Noel know. And then Noel, I think you can edit right here. Can you edit? Boleh kan? You can edit kan? Oh, cannot edit. In that case, I'll delete this one. Okay. So Noel, you help me to put the assignment grouping here. All right, thank you. So where was I? So your program must perform database transactions. So CRUD, create, retrieve, update, delete. Through the use of suitable web forms, we have learned this since week 1. Data-bound controls. So you need to choose data controls that are suitable for art gallery. Okay. Oh, and you need to give me your MDF also lah. That's it. Week 8. Mana sudah? Week 8. Yeah, correct. Week 8. You demo to me during practical hours. And then for your second part, yeah, this is the one that I mentioned, your validation exception handling, user control. These two I think towards the end. But then hopefully we can cover it faster so that you have time. After we complete the lecture, you have time to like do the code stuff. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully at least by week 12. If you're faster than week 11, then you have like 2 weeks to uh, complete everything. Okay. Any question about the assignment? Part
And
one, I will look at your GUI, your database. Hopefully you still remember how to normalize your tables. Okay, I'm interested to know which are your choices of the data bounds controller and program logic to make sure that the program works. Okay, and then for your information, we are actually early. We are actually early because eh yeah, because last we have completed event driven in week 3, and then we covered database. Okay, and today we will finish off this. Yeah, it's a very short uh, chapter. Now it's 10, almost 10:10. And then up until week 7. So at least you have time lah. Okay, if we finish today, so you have 3 weeks to like cover all, which is to do this. Okay, perform database transaction because some you need time to finalize your database design also. Okay. All right. I think they are on track. Do you have any other assignment around the same time at week 8? This is nice, right? Penang. Just now I searched for Sabah kan, doesn't work at all. So we don't have like a web developer in Sabah. Did you see just now? I browsed through Sabah Art Gallery. It doesn't work. Ada error lagi. This one ada error lagi. And then I try to like where's the collection? I want to view the art gallery. Waiting copy. I try to like do the search here. Waiting copy. You have 6 assignment concurrently around the same time. How many people in a group? Okay, okay. Let's see. I haven't updated mine, so I cannot see the rest of the lecturers' um, submission also. Okay. Reminds me I need to update mine. Normally we have that particular worksheet so that it will show our assignments or test deadlines, and then from there lecturer we can see how's the students workload lah. Okay, but then I guess everyone's forgot about this what now. I'll update mine. Okay, shall we continue? I'll start with the recording. Second part is very straightforward, since you all have learned and also passed your database design and development under Mustang. Anyone favorite subject is database? Anyone is a database master here? Okay, because we do have students who's good in programming, some student good in networking, some student good in database. Anyone has very high interest in database? Perhaps you would like to be a database administrator someday? No one? But then as a software developer, whether it's a web application or a desktop base or mobile, okay, we still need database, correct? Which we have covered last week, the advantages of having database. Right, for part 2, this is what we're going to cover. Let me go to the next slide. For part 2, we're going to cover cut, okay, create, update, delete records on database, okay, and a little bit on database handling. And in part 3, we will look at data bound controls. So we have done this, okay, this is just a recap. The 4 steps, this is not the 4 steps, this is just the common database tasks that we can use using the ADO.NET data objects. The first one is definitely we need the connection, create it, and then after that we open a database connection. The retrieve already covered. So in this chapter, we look at how to create or add new database record, update existing database record, and finally delete the database records. Okay, the first one, to create or add a database record, notice that it is similar, okay, similar to the retrieve of the database record. Whereby when we execute the command, we use, what did we use? Either execute reader or execute scalar, correct? So the first step here, we need the connection, and then followed by, this time you need to create the SQL insert statement. Okay, because you're going to create or add database record, you definitely need the SQL insert statement. And then don't forget your SQL command object. It needs to be created, because you're going to use the command object to execute your command. Okay, and then the most important thing that I want you all to include in your assignment is to display the status. Is it a success? Has it been added into the database? All right, and then the last one would be to close the database connection, right? Since step 1, creating of the database connection is similar or the same, we go straight to step 2, which is the syntax for the SQL insert statement. Okay, so this is the syntax: insert into what is your table name, right? And then you have 2 pairs of brackets. The first bracket is to specify the field name in your table, and then followed by values. Second bracket is to set the values that you want to insert into each of the table fields. So the example is given here. Insert into student table, ID field, name field, program field with this value S001 to ID. This is how to pronounce that. Chen, Mei Li. Oh, I know Mei Li. Mei Lisa. Program is RSD2. Okay. Remember here, after you create the insert statement, we need to have the SQL command object. So step 2B to create the command object. Remember, we can use the add param, right? Okay, so if we want to get the values obtained from text boxes, because assuming that you have this web form, the user enter their data into the text boxes, then you can use the dot text property, right? So the first one here is the SQL insert statement, right? You store it into this string variable, insert into student. I think in your slide, this is still in uppercase already. I just noticed it last night. Okay, ID, name, program, values with add ID, add name, and add prog. All right. You need to make sure that there is no typo. If this is the name of the field in your table, make sure it tallies. All right. This is the command object. So you create the command object from the SQL command class. We have learned this in chapter 1, yeah. The SQL connection class, the SQL command class, the SQL parameter class, and so on. The command object, when we create a new command, we need two parameters, the SQL and also the connection, right? And then we use the command object to invoke the parameters, okay, and then add with value accordingly. Txt_id.text, txt_name.text, txt_program.text. Step 3, when it comes to executing the command, all right, here is where it is different. Okay, let's look at it. We're going to use execute non-query method. Okay, this particular method will return how many rows will be affected. Now, if say you are going to add a record, then I believe one row will be affected. Correct. So here, this since it will return a number, you need to store it into an integer variable, right? If it's more than 0, meaning more than means 1 and above lah. Okay, it can be 1 and above. Definitely, it will be 1 for when you insert a record, then you can display your status. Okay, the record has been added. You can use a more user-friendly message, success message. Else means it's 0 or perhaps it's negative. Then this is where you display something went wrong lah, unsuccessful. This is according to what we have here. We must display the status, inform your user whether the execution is a success or not. So let's look at the next one, which is to update a database record. To update or edit, the 4 steps, they are similar to the creating of a database record, except for step number 2. Definitely, because this time we're going to use the SQL update statement. Okay, so this is the syntax in case you forgot already. We start with update table, and then don't forget the set. Okay, so here you need to have a pair of column value lah. Okay, set this column with this value, comma, and so on. where, and then your search condition. Notice that the where part is, in this case, if you look at this example, we are referring to the PK, primary key. So assuming that we have this particular, what you call that already, DBDL, database, DBDL, database, I forgot what is D, language lah, DBDL language is it? ID, student ID, name, program. So here underline means it's PK. So update student set name equals to this program, or change to RSD1. Now it's Hun Mei Li, where ID is S001. Okay. And then here I did mention that for execute none query, when you call this using your command object, it will return the number of rows affected. You add a new database record, definitely only one row will be affected. But for update, okay, for updates, it might affect more than one record at a time. So for example, we have this SQL statement, update event, set status to open, where event type is equal to contest. So assuming that we have this event table, and I can see that record 1 and record 3, they have event type equals to contest. So if we execute this statement, then record 1 will have the status set to open, record 3 as well, set status to open. So here is the what was it already? Execute none query method will return more than one row number. I'm talking about the number. Okay. Step 2B, this is where we create the command object. Okay, let me see, command edit lah. Okay, so for example, we want to create this command edit, right? Don't forget you need your SQL query and your connection. So this is our SQL statement, update student, set name, add name, comma, program equals to add prog, okay, where ID equals to add ID. So ini di belakang lah. Alright. What I see from previous experience, student get so used to because this is your table, right? Student ID comes first and then name and program. It works for create lah, correct? But then for update, the ID normally is at the back because that is your where, what do you call that? The search condition. Okay, so where ID equals to add ID. But then for the parameters dot add with value, make sure your add parameter you specify with the correct text box. Okay, txt_id.text for add ID, txt_name.text for name, txt_program.text add program. You need to make sure that these particular text boxes exist in your web form, right? If there's a typo error, or perhaps you already changed the text box, or it is still text box 1, so make sure you use the correct name. Okay, so just now already mentioned step 1, 3, and 4 are the same. The only thing different is step number 2, whereby for add a new database record, we use the insert command. For update, we use update lah. Okay. For the execution of the statement, we still use the same thing. Okay, execute none query. So you can see the difference already. To retrieve, we use select statement. And then we can either use execute reader or execute scalar. For create, update, and also delete, the statement will be insert, update, and delete. Okay, we use a different SQL statement. And then for these three, we use execute non-query, where, okay, let me repeat one more time, where it will return the number of rows affected. Okay, for insert, normally it's one row will be affected lah. But then for update and delete, it might be more than one. Okay, let's see. This is the delete of the database record. Only step 2 is different, whereby now we will use the SQL delete statement. Delete from this table where followed by your search condition. Okay, normally we go for the ID, right? Delete from student where ID equals to S001. So since it might affect more than one record at a time, you need to refer to the previous slide. Okay, when you want to show the status of success message or unsuccessful message. So you can use this very simple if else command. Okay. If you look at this example, the same event table, assuming we have delete from event, where event type equals to contest. So in this case, record 1 and record 3 will be deleted. Okay, so it affects more than one record at a time. It may affect more than one record at a time. So again, step 1, 3, 4 are the same. Still use execute non-query. All right, we have 30 minutes left. Okay, so now I want to give you questions. Okay, questions. Let me see. Is Wong here? I think he didn't respond since this morning. Oh, tiada. Oh, ada. Because this morning I gave you question you didn't answer. Okay, this time the first question is for you, Ya Wong. Assuming we are building a promotion module, promotion as in a sales promotion. Okay, suggest which SQL statement and which method would you use? So SQL statement, we already learned the CRUD, right? So insert, select, update, or delete. Okay, and then for method, we have learned 3 methods: execute reader, execute scalar, and execute non-query. So Wong, you answer number 1. Number 2, Kelvin, are you here? Okay, Kelvin, you answer number 2. Let's see. Number 3, I want Jeremiah, are you here? Okay. So you answer number 3. Number 4, Russell. Okay, Russell, you answer number 4. The last question I want to give to siapa lagi sebelum tanya? Noel lah. Noel. Okay, so put in the chat box which SQL statement and which method. Please indicate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lah, so that I know. Kelvin, number 2, select and execute reader. Okay, let me read. Number 2, select and execute reader. Yes, correct. Because we want to display the details, definitely use select statement. Details of the products that are going to expire soon. So more than one. So more than one record. So we use execute reader. Excellent. Let me see. Any more answer from Noel number 5? Delete execute none query. So let's see number 5. Yes, correct. We want to clear all products. Kalau clear means we delete lah, correct? That are already expired from the database. Ini no need to decide. Definitely execute none query. Okay, correct. Number 5 is also correct. Delete statement and execute none query. How about the rest? Russell number 4, update execute none query. Yes, of course. When we see the word edit, definitely update statement. Edit a product selling price. So as long as it's cut, all right, see cut, insert, update, and delete, you should use the execute none query. Okay. Let me see. Jeremiah, number 3, insert execute none query. Yes, correct. From the word add. Okay, add is insert and then definitely execute none query. Last one, Wang. Wang sudah jawab kah? Did I miss your answer? Select execute reader. Number 1 kan, display. Kalau display, definitely select the number of products, or there will be more than one products. So we use display the number of products. The number. Are we returning only one or more than one? Number of products. Macam count. Kalau count more than one, tapi we just need a number of products. Satu saja. We return the count. Kalau count only one, our result is considered as one saja kan? Correct? In that case, I don't think we need execute reader. We need execute scalar. If you all agree with me lah. Because display number of products. It's not like display all the product details that cost below RM1. Kalau display all the product details means definitely we get more than one result. Okay, Barat? All right. So thank you for the answers. Let's see. Okay, next topic. Data bound controls with data source control and data binding. I'll continue this in 3 minutes time. Tech 3. I'll start with a new recording. All right, so I'm back. Okay, so I'll start another recording. So today I have one recording for the quizzes and then three more recordings for chapter 4, part 1, part 2, and part 3. Easy for you to do your revision. Okay. Part 3, I will be very fast because I've already recorded a demo video on this. Okay, for our practical last week. And then last week, I think most of you have submitted the practical for lab exercise 1. It's about data bound controls and how to apply data binding. Okay, this is a recall from our chapter 1. Okay, a simple way for us to connect to our database is to use the data source control, because in our data source control, we can encapsulate the data access. Okay, and then there's a connection and also query that is automatically done for us. So the one that you use is this one, SQL data source, right? This is also a recall some of the built-in data source controls. Okay, we have a lot here. But I think for syllabus, we just use SQL data source because we are using the Microsoft SQL server, right? Also, a recall from chapter 1. SQL data source control refers to the SQL syntax for relational databases, where it is used for Microsoft SQL Server. But then here, it also stated that we can use the same data source control for Access, Oracle, OLEDDB, and also ODBC compliant data store. Now, data bound controls like what is listed here. This is under the data toolbox. Um, we use our data bound control to render data. Okay, means we render data as markup to the requesting browser. So what we do is we bind our data bound control to data source control, and then we can automatically fetch data, right? These are the examples of data bound controls, uh, quite a lot, in fact. The one that I covered in my demo exercise is grid view and details view. And the one that I believe you use for your lab exercise one is repeated. Okay, and then besides that, we also have form view, data list, and then under list controls, we have bulleted list, checkbox list, drop down list, list box, and radio button list controls. So if you refer to the assignment question, okay, the prototype of your program, you need to use uh, the most appropriate web form data bound control for the cells, the artwork cells, and display gallery. Okay, so be creative with that. You need to do additional research because our notes are very simple. It didn't go very detailed. Okay, besides that, we also have menu, okay, where it will render our data in hierarchical dynamic menu. Uh, this is new to me, Add Rotator, where it will render advertisements. This is nice. Okay, perhaps you can add this one in for your assignment. On a page as an image that users can click to go to a URL. Perhaps advertisement for that particular artist, right? Tree view will render the data in a hierarchical tree of expandable nodes. I believe you use tree view. Let me see for your which practical already. The master page and sitemap. Okay. This slide talks about data binding, just an overview. Data binding means the keyword is in fact dynamically, means during runtime, we will assign value to a property of a control. This is our data bound control. For example, we use data binding to bind the properties of a control, say a grid view control, okay, to a data source. That's why, first of all, you need to know that we use data source control, okay, to connect to our database. In this case, we are using Microsoft SQL Server. What we have in our part 3 are this one, okay, grid view, data list, details view, form view, repeater, drop down list, radio button list, and list box controls. So you will just see an overview lah. All right. The first one, we have seen this in my demo video. For grid view, we display our data as a table, and then we can insert this capability. We can edit the record, we can delete a record, we can sort the column, we can page through. This is the paging, yeah, very nice. Data bound control. Besides that, we can customize the appearance of our grid view control. You just click on the smart tag and then there's an edit columns link, right? You can also edit template in case you want to customize the user interface. Now, if you double click on this control, then you will go to the code behind. Then you can add your own code in case you want to handle any events. Okay. The second data bound control is details view. I've also shown you this details view bound control in my demo video, where it will render a single record, okay, a single record at a time as a table. So you can see down here, we can edit, delete, insert, and also this paging, all right, to page through multiple records. I remember there's one question in our practical, right? Like one customer might have more than one order. So in that particular demo exercise, we use detail view, but then for detail view, it only display one order. Bitmap image is not mentioned in our slide, right? And then I remember in chapter 1, the image data type is going to be obsolete. I'm not sure whether it's already obsolete. If it's not obsolete yet, then you can use the data type, okay, for the database, right? Hopefully it's not obsolete yet. Just for the assignment, I guess you can still use the data type. So I remember, Noel, you answered in my video, you suggest grid view. Tapi kan for grid view, Oh, click on the customer in the first grid view, and then it will display the order in another grid view. Possible. There's a possibility. Okay. How about the rest? Perhaps you have any ideas? Okay, so this is what we have done in our demo exercise. We normally use details view for master detail scenarios, where the selected record in the master control determine the record displayed in the details control, details view control. So This is like a book. You click on this book and you can, oh boleh, page 1, page 2. Oh boleh lah. Ada paging, right? Ya, oh ada paging. Means it's okay. Yeah, I did notice in my practical last week. I think it can be done. Okay, so we have seen this. Okay, we click on the smart tag. We can do paging, insert, edit, and delete. And also there's an edit template where we can do additional customization. So if you look at the appearance of the details view, perhaps like over here, we are only displaying like the text field, right? What if you want to display picture or perhaps a checkbox? Can you do that? Let's see. Oh, ada image field. Okay, display the value of a data item as an image. Okay. And then checkbox. You can also display the value of the data item as a checkbox. So there are a lot here, how you can control the appearance of the detail view. Okay, and the third data bound control is the form view. Same thing. Okay, same thing with details view. We can see a single record at a time. However, we don't have all this for form view, right? We cannot control the appearance. It is stated here, form view does not specify a predefined layout. Therefore, you create your template. Okay, so you create your template. Say you want to display individual fields from the record, right? So you can add on a text box and so on, right? And then similar also to details view, we can insert, we can insert new book, insert page through. But then here we cannot see in the example of the picture, right? We can page through multiple records, update and delete as well. The thing is, notice that for every data bound controls, there are this smart tag. So you can select it, choose from the options there, and don't forget your data source. Okay. So this is to compare the data bound controls. Grid view, you have separate column for each field. Each field value in its own cell. But for details view and form view, we display single records. The only thing is that details view, we have a default structure. Form view, there's no default structure. So you create your own design, right? For grid view, you can edit existing record. For details view and form view, you can edit, create for both, right? Oh yeah, and over here you can see that grid view is available as a table. Details view and form view, it can also be a tree. Now this is question. Which data bound control is used for A and which one is used for B? Jonathan, which data bound is for A? And B. B is, let me see. Siapa lagi belum panggil? Details view. Yes, correct. Who else I haven't called? How sudah? Oh, Daniel. Daniel, B is very clear. What is your answer? Which data bound control is this? I can see the text boxes here. So definitely which one? Give you a clue. Grid view, details view, form view. Mana satu? This one looks like a. Oh, Daniel is not there. Ah, yeah, correct. Form view. Yes, good. So this is using the form view. The next data bound control is data list. All right. Oh, this is nice. Perhaps this is suitable for your art gallery. You can see here that it explicitly places items in an HTML table. So it renders the data as a table, and we can display the data records in different layouts. Means we can order in columns or rows. Okay, so we can edit or delete record. Okay. However, data list control does not provide the capabilities for you to modify data, meaning you need to do your own code lah. Okay, the code behind. Okay, this is for edit and this is for update. Now, data list continue, yeah. We have a template for data list. Okay, in general, we display everything in a HTML table. So look at how you can edit the template. If you click on the smart tag, you can choose the item template or header footer template, separator template. What does it mean? It means you can apply complicated formatting for each of the items. Okay, so you can add HTML tags within the template as well. So because it is displaying the items in a HTML table, so definitely you can add any valid HTML text within the HTML table. The template can also contain other controls, even inline ASP.NET code. So that one would be Razor. Remember, at Razor. This is the header. Means you can like decide I want font color white, background color. What is this? Dark blue. Okay, the item template is how you want to display the item, the text, the background. Okay, separator. Okay, perhaps you want to have a different color. And then I like this one, alternating item template. So it's easy to see that this is definitely record number 2. And then finally, footer template. So you can add any custom message, or perhaps you want to add an image, all right, set different background color and so on. So very nice. We apply complicated formatting using your HTML text. Okay, so this is the description. Okay, now question. Based on this example of data list, which template are we looking at? Yang paling atas sekali. How about this one, Elvin? Which template is this? Right. No need to think, Alvin. Go back to the previous slide. Lim. Oh yeah, forgot about Lim. Lim. How about B? This is if you want to. Oh, bukan repeater. I'm talking about the template for the data list. Okay, like you want to say for the price, I want to put a background color of yellow, text is black. example. And then I want the name to be e-thinking. Name to be, this is what, heading 2, heading 3, template. Okay, let me go back to the previous one. Ini, mana satu? Either header template, item template, separator template, alternating item template, footer template. Header. Yang header is for A, correct. How about B link? B is item. C, alternating item. Correct. Last one. Oh, tidak berapa nampak kan? This is just a simple HR. Yes, correct. Excellent. Oh, I have 2 more minutes. Let me finish this one, yeah. D is a separator. Good. Next is the repeater, which you have used for your lab exercise 1. There's no default look. So last week I saw the output basically your output looks like this, okay. But then I saw Celine, you applied your, I think you customize it, right? Okay, that did you play around with the border or perhaps the color? I think it's the border. So Celine, your output looks nicer lah. Okay. Data list, everything will be in a table. All right. Uh, let me see. 10:59. Oh, I think I can finish this. Less than 10 minutes. Okay. I'll finish this one, yeah. So repeater, there's no default look, right? Because we can define the layout of individual items using templates. You create your own custom template. Wow. If I look at this example, I won't know that you're using repeater. Okay, so these are various kind of lists. I can, oh, perhaps you can use repeater for your gallery. Yeah, all right. Possible as well. As long as you do your research, see what kind of options that you have when you click on the smart tag. All right. Similar to data list for repeater, all fields are displayed in one cell. Okay, one cell, one record. To control the output formatting, you can use the template. And similar to other data bound controls, we bind our data using this choose data source, right? I've seen that you have added, you have these codes added into your lab exercise 1. Okay, we use data binder, all right. For any of the list web controls such as grid view, details view, data list, or repeater, okay, look at the second parameter here. Our container should be data item, all right, data item. But then if you bind against page, then container should be page, all right. But for our web controls, it should be container dot data item. And the second one is, in fact, okay, let me go to the next slide. Expression, right? This is the field name, all right? The navigation path from the container to the property value, which you want it to be placed into the bound control property. So there are two. One is the container, and then this is the expression. Okay. Now, besides using data binder.eval, we can just simply use eval also lah. Okay, this is the example. And then look at this syntax. All right, the syntax is different. If you use eval, then you need to split the fields here. Okay, last name and then followed by first name, right? Okay, and finally, okay, this is the final data bound control, the list controls. We can have a drop down list, radio button list, and list box controls. So again, for list control, when you select your data source, you need to set both data text field and data value field property. Okay, if you want to like write your own code to bind the data, but then since it's given to us automatically, why not, right? But if you want to customize it, make sure after you create the data uh, or assuming that we have already created the connection and then we have already created our command object. Okay, here we are executing our reader, right? This is execute reader. You need to make sure that you have your data source here. Tapi for me, better you just select the data source from the wizard lah kan. Right, but in case you want to customize, at least you know that it is pointing to this one, right? Means the checkbox list data source is from this particular uh, data source control. Okay, and then don't forget dot data bind. You need to know this. Otherwise, we can just go through the, if you click on the smart tag, choose this one, configure data source. Very easy. That's why I think I love ASP.NET already. Okay, assuming part of the code is shown below. Okay, now you need to do e-thinking. Do you see any problem if the page is loaded again, say for the second time or for the third time? This is assuming it's during the page load. Okay, I can see we create connection. Okay, and then we execute the reader, we retrieve, and then data source is this one. We are actually finding the state, okay, assuming that we have a record of states, perhaps states in Malaysia, and then data bind, and then you close. But he doesn't say, oh, okay, can see already data text field means our list. Every time the page load, it will do this. Create connection, read, okay, bind. So assuming in Malaysia we have berapa states? Oh no, my geography. 13, 14. Okay, so every time page load, it will retrieve that 14 records. Do you think this is a problem? Okay. Let me show you the next slide. Okay, this is the issue. Okay, there's no is prospect property. Kan? Kalau we already know that it is loaded for like not for the first time, then there's no need for us to redo things that already been done. Why? Because it will decrease the performance of our page. Every time the page is loaded, we need to retrieve the record from the database. Okay, so retrieving records from database is a resource intensive task. Okay, resource intensive task. So this is, I think I remember in my quizzes, the database round trip. Okay, so if a user select employee from the drop-down list, You rebind the drop-down list to the database table, then the user selection is lost. Okay, so I guess Noel, you have some point there. Okay, binding a drop-down list will reset the selected index as well as selected item properties of the control. I think, is this what happened last week? The one that Russell you were thinking about. But then that one is repeater. I'm not sure whether this is including repeater. Okay, never mind. So I am at the last page already. Last slide, uh, comparing the data bound controls, drop down list, list box. Okay, we compare the list control with the data list and repeater. Okay, for list control, we just list of a few fields. For data list, all field in one cell. Same thing with repeater. Okay, one cell equals one record. Same thing with the repeater. Data list, we display multiple records in a grid, meaning data list is in a HTML table. For repeater, we can also do that in a grid. We create our template, right? And then we can create a new record, repeater as well. We can create a new record. For repeater, it's read only. Okay, it's read only. I think you will notice this when you recall your lab exercise 1, right? Lab exercise 1, you display, you retrieve the, I think, product from the category selected. Data list, at least you can edit. The list control only for read only lah, meaning you want to populate your list for the user to select. Okay. Yeah, so we're done. Next week we have a new chapter, membership and role management. So this is the end of chapter 4, part 3. Okay, done in within 10 minutes. So I'll stop the recording now. Yeah, thank you for your time. Yeah, because just now we were looking at the assignment question, right? So I'll see you all tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Bye-bye.